At the Skanda headquarters building, Raina's assistant leads me into a different elevator than the last time. It's located at the end of a long corridor, protected by multiple key card swipes. Inside, the elevator smoothly ramps up speed as we stand silently. I kinda wish I could talk to this lady, Sarah, if I remember right. But I'm not sure what I would say. She's not looking at me. She's looking off into the distance somehow, even though it's an elevator and the wall is right there. Elevator rides really are awkward, aren't they? I have the sense that if I tried to say something friendly, I'd be met with stony silence. Or if I asked sincere questions, he would deflect it.
Ah, Evelyn.
This is a nice office.
Would you like some tea?
Sure.
Sure. Why did you show me Soren's phone?
Yeah, I thought Soren probably hasn't, consented to that.
It's not a surprise anymore these days, is it? A man who enjoys society's respect behaves poorly in his private life? We accept that as common today, maybe even uninteresting. But would you really be okay working with someone like him?
I already have.
That was a huge violation of his privacy. You really don't care about others.
Privacy.
You say that as if it's a joke.
Everyone's worried about privacy. Skanda wouldn't be where it is today if our customers didn't trust us to protect their data. We employ most, if not all, of the top experts in cybersecurity. It's built into all of our products right from the beginning.
And yet, it's not that long ago that I've received a mail about a security breach.
Unlike our competitors, we do more to protect our data than anyone else.
That's not the case I'm worried about right now. I mean, misuse from the inside. For example, if someone wanted to keep tabs on a former employee who was starting a potential competitor.
For example, I mean, I'm just pulling something out of my ass here. It's not like it's a concrete example.
Oh, but what if it was perfectly legal, due to multiple agreements that the good Dr. Lloyd Rose signed with us when he came here? Are you done questioning me like a tech journalist?
Do you watch my therapy sessions too? Do you read my email? My texts?
No, I haven't done any of those things.
You haven't personally done any of those things.
How's your research into Eliza proxy use cases going? Any new insights to share?
People are in shitty situations and we're not helping them. I mean, I would like to take both of these.
I'm not sure it's really helping people.
Our metrics indicate otherwise. Of course, it's only human to concentrate on a small number of corner cases. I heard Soren gave you a demo of his direct stimulation machine. How's he doing now, all on his own?
You tell me.
Very funny, Evelyn. Let me ask you this. Do you find his vision compelling? A world free of suffering.
To some extent. But still, it's problematic.
I'm skeptical.
By focusing on dreams, Soren is trying to defend his territory. The Western psychological tradition, chiefly Jung and his inheritors.
I'm not familiar with it.
Well, there's no need to be. It's just a bunch of unverifiable ideas. Let's be honest. What has this field actually accomplished? Soren used to try to argue with me about this. He would claim that traditional psychoanalysis has helped thousands or tens of thousands, even millions. I would never dispute that directly. Instead, I would only add that professional psychics and astrologers have helped millions too. Tarot cards help people all over the world every single day.
I can kind of agree with that. Because, well, psychology and the likes are really it's a field that we don't really understand yet. I mean, we're making progress, and it does help people because it makes people reflect. But sometimes when that's not enough, we're kind of like in a place where, well, what do we do then? We just medicate people. And that does not work always either.
That doesn't mean it's a science.
Psychology is more rigorous than you're making it out to be here.
Yes, that's exactly what he'd say. Not only did he believe psychotherapy was worthwhile, he also thought the mind was fundamentally irreducible after a certain point.
Irreducible?
As if there was some undefinable, ineffable soul inside every person. It's all part of his silly, syncretic New Age belief system. Amazing he's held on to that for so long. I keep an open mind, but saying that something can't be represented with numbers requires a high burden of proof.
Well, when you're in the place where you can't represent something with numbers because you don't have enough knowledge of how to do that, that's almost the same as it's impossible. So, in reality, there's not that much of a difference. But maybe it's something you can do someday. But I don't know, I'm kind of on the edge here.
After all, numbers have been used to represent so very many things. Consider the example we spoke about before. A poem. Could you evaluate a poem using numbers?
Yeah, you could break it into lines. How many lines? How many words? How many letters? Count the specific type of words. You can do all sorts of natural language processing on it.
The answer is, of course, yes. Poems are either good, mediocre, or bad. It's entirely possible to create a heuristic that reflects the difference. By aggregating a large enough sample size, we remove localized biases. It would work the same way Eliza does.
You're talking about an algorithm to evaluate poems.
Yes, I am. Algorithms can evaluate poems, and eventually, algorithms will write poems. One day, algorithms will write better poems than humans ever have.
So one day, algorithms will be able to make art better than humans.
I know this sounds like a controversial opinion, Evelyn, but it's simply the truth.
But what is the definition of better? I mean, how do you define what is objectively good or better in terms of art and poems? That's something we have difficulty defining in general. You can't say we even have difficulty defining what art is. What constitutes art?
What would be the point of that?
It doesn't matter. There's no stopping it.
Yeah, but what? Why? What? If there has to be a point, I mean, if it happens, then the point must be that there's something to gain behind it, possibly financially. But what?
If we don't take this step, others will. There are hundreds of labs working on the same or similar ideas.
Yeah, that's the first mover thing I was talking about.
Everyone wants to be in this business. The business of recreating human thought in our own image.
The business of being a god.
And at the end of the day, it's not about money. It's about power, control.
Yeah. Yeah. That's scary.
Raynor, do you ever get tired of this? The constant drive to compete, to win.
No, I don't. This is what I do.
You never dream of just retiring somewhere and writing poetry.
Oh, there's no need for me to write poems. All beauty in this world is temporary, fleeting. That's the truth that underlies poetry and every other art. The pleasures of the senses are just small bubbles on top of a vast sea of forms, sensations, perceptions, thought, awareness. I'm telling you this because it's directly relevant to the Eliza project. Soren says he can induce you to dream things, dream anything. And maybe he can. But what comes next after that?
Yeah.
What comes after having the power to experience the dream of anything you could possibly want?
Maybe a virtual reality?
You're still just as trapped as you've always been, imprisoned by your own desires. Even if someone like Soren managed to create a world for himself, his own weaknesses and negative thoughts would ruin it. He would poison his own fantasy. His utopia would crumble as soon as he finished building it.
You sure about that?
What are you trying to tell me?
What I'm trying to tell you is that what Soren is doing is not the answer.
The answer to what question?
A dream by itself isn't enough. Take a close look at the person who chases an end to suffering, and you'll see someone who suffers greatly.
But that's why he's chasing it.
Then why don't you build it yourself?
What is your dream, Evelyn? What is it that you're working toward?
I think seeing Eliza being used for good.
Just tell me what you want from me.
I've been very clear about it, haven't I?
To work for you.
I'm offering you the opportunity to re-enter the field you pioneered at its very pinnacle. I can build you an entirely new research lab, equipped and staffed however you want. You would have access to the world's top engineers and researchers as we continue to develop Eliza's core technologies and generalize them. You'd also be working with the world's most interesting data set, the input provided by the thousands of ordinary people who speak to Eliza every day. Soon, this generalized intelligence will be everywhere human beings are, hearing them, guiding them, living among them.
You and Soren have more in common than you'd want to admit.
You think we're both grandiose? Soren's idea isn't grandiose at all. It's small and unimaginative. Think about the vision here. General artificial intelligence, indistinguishable from human intelligence at first, and then surpassing it exponentially.
So what are you trying to achieve? I mean, is it just that we're trying to create a new species? To exterminate human beings? What?
It's nothing short of the creation of a new type of organism, a new type of life.
Yeah. But something that surpasses us. Something that threatens us.
And you, Eliza, could be at the very center of it.
Eliza.
Oh. Oh no.
I mean, Evelyn.
That was an interesting slip of the tongue.
Oh.
Stop it. The Eliza project occupies much of my mind.
No, that was something.
It clearly does.
Plus, the names are similar.
I'm starting to wonder why.
Evelyn, listen to me. This is the chance to lead a project that will change the world. It would be a development on the same order as the harnessing of electricity or the semiconductor. It would fundamentally transform society.
Yeah, but in a good way? Yeah, for the better.
For the better.
What? Do you like the way things are now? Lie back and let the sweep of history bury you if you want, Evelyn.
That's not what I was asking. Things are shitty now, but they can always be shittier.
Just know you'll never have a chance like this again.
A chance to change the world. Raina's words echo in my head for a long time. Is that what I want to do?